Welcome to BodyHacking Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life and create a bloom zone in our life and within our family. I'm your host, Michaela Morell, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to build a better you, one essential building block at a time. In today's episode, we will meet Bill again. Last week, he told us about his own journey, but today he will tell the story of his friends and family. After documenting his own journey, he wrote an ebook. Today, he shares what have happened in the lives of people he has shared the information with. It is stories of chronic pain, high blood pressure, and IBS that today have improved dramatically. Bill's story is a beautiful, in real-life example of the ripple effect your decision of taking charge of your own health can create in your family and in your community, playing a role in that blue zone community that can happen as you body hack your body by creating better circumstances for self-healing. I want to remind you that this podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only. Read the disclaimer in the show notes, and I remind you to always consult your healthcare provider if you plan to make any dietary changes. But back to the episode, let's dive in. So welcome back to the podcast, Body Hacking Build a Better You. And I'm sitting here with the high blood pressure guy, Mr. Bill Vaughn. Bill is a client of mine. We did an interview earlier where he's telling his story, and he have been able to document his journey in an ebook, which you can get a hold of if you go to the High Blood Pressure Guy on Instagram or on Facebook. But you have, because of you documenting your journey and sharing it with some loved ones, you have been able to see some really cool health benefits that they have also have happened to them in their lives. So, Bill, share a couple of stories of your clients that you have been able to help just from sharing your own experience.
Well, I could go on and on and on about this, but the first client that I had, I knew from the gym, and he was a wreck. He was a mess. He went to the urgent care and his blood pressure was 200 over 110, and he was just totally panicked. They wanted to put him in the hospital, but he said, "No, I don't want to do that." And I introduced him to getting in balance with omega-3, and within just weeks, his blood pressure was under control. And within months, he was able to get off a very minimum dose of lisinopril. And he was just so grateful. And probably my favorite story is my brother-in-law.
Don't move so quickly, because I know this client, and I also know that not only did his high blood pressure normalize, but this is a client that had been struggling with psoriasis his whole life, basically, and IBS. And he was on a very restrictive diet, and a lot of the items that, even healthy items, would make his IBS flare up. And he really struggled with his gut health. And I also know that his gut health improved a lot. He have shared it with me, have shared it with a lot of people, how his gut health completely changed. And that is from him struggling pretty much his whole life. And now, when he's retired, it have normalized, and he's able to eat, and he's able to not have the gut pain he have experienced his whole life.
Well, he brags about that, how great he feels now compared to where he was probably 2.5, 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm really happy for him. It's so nice to see him feeling good. He's lost a lot of weight. I mean, he's just doing great. And then I got my sister on the whole health protocol, and she insisted that her husband get on it. So he finally did. And he called me up one day and he was just thrilled. He said, "Bill, my triglycerides have been over 200 almost my whole life. Even on medication, my doctor couldn't get them down." And he said, "I went in for my annual physical, and the doctor said, 'What are you doing?' He said, 'Your triglycerides are at 139. And he said, 'I've tried everything to get you below 200. What are you doing?' And he goes, 'Well,' and he had to think, and he goes, 'Well, my brother-in-law got me on the whole health protocol, and now his triglycerides are controlled where they couldn't have been before.' So he was so grateful for that. My sister-in-law had very high blood pressure, couldn't get it down, needed her hips replaced, but the doctors couldn't get her blood pressure low enough for her to do it. So my wife and I talked to her about the whole health protocol. She got on it, and within maybe 2 months, she called me up and she was just so thrilled because she was now going to be able to get her hips replaced because her blood pressure was under control. So she was just ecstatic for what it had done for her.
Okay, that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. So we're having a guy that have had really high levels of triglycerides, and doctors are very focused on this and very worried about that. And he has tried pretty much everything the doctors have to offer, and he's not able to get it under control. What the doctors want them to be under control. And here he is. The doctors are usually they're talking about the bad LDL, which is the bad cholesterol what the doctors are talking about. But LDL is not even a cholesterol, it's a protein, by the way, if you haven't heard that. But a lot of people are talking about fats and they're trying to avoid fats. And it's fascinating because we're adding fats into the diet and suddenly his fats levels goes down. Isn't that fascinating? Sometimes our body is craving more fats and they're creating more fats because we're lacking other essential fatty acids. But when something is called essential, that means that the body cannot produce it itself. And the only fats the body knows how to produce is cholesterol. We're only eating about tenth of what our body is actually producing in cholesterol. And so usually, if we're having high levels of cholesterol, it's a sign of us eating too little fats that are essential, or that we're having very high levels of inflammation because cholesterol is actually repairing the damage after inflammation. So that is a side note that can be good for you to know. But suddenly, all his levels are normalized, and also his wife is starting to be so normalized that she's actually approved for having her surgery. And she had been struggling and needing, like really needing this surgery, and she haven't been able to be improved because of her high blood pressure. And suddenly it's normalized. I just love these stories, Bill. It gives me chills, and I'm so appreciative of you sharing your health journey with more people so that they can benefit. And when Bill is talking about the whole health protocol, it's simply just being able to target omega 6 to omega 3 imbalance, targeting gut health, and targeting our malnutrition of vitamins and minerals. So, when we're targeting all of those things at the same time, usually the body is responding very positively. Did you have any other stories you wanted to share? He have one more, he says. I'm going to hand over the mic to him.
So my best friend growing up was very active in high school, and then even after high school, he played city league softball for 30 years, and he had so many injuries. He had torn his Achilles tendon, broken fingers, broken wrist. He just had a lot of injuries, and he was living on, actually overdosing on Tylenol and ibuprofen because of the inflammation, the pain that he was in constantly. So he had said something about his blood pressure, and I thought, well, I know something that may help. So I got him started. And one day I was at the gym and he called me up and he said, Bill, how much of this do you go through in a month? And I told him I go through a bottle. Actually, I go through almost 2 bottles. And he said, well, I'm only getting one. And the pain started coming back last week. And he said, I'm back on the ibuprofen and Tylenol. And I said, I didn't even know you were off. And he goes, yeah, for whatever reason, all the inflammation went away and I was feeling great. And now I ran out. And so you get me started on that second bottle now. So it just, all his pain went away. And I don't know if you know, but ibuprofen and Tylenol are hard on your kidneys and livers. You don't really want to take it if you don't have to. But if you take omega 3, it's good for everything.
And talking about omega 3, it needs to be high quality omega 3. It cannot be rancid omega 3 because rancid omega 3, if it tastes fish, if you burp fish, if it smells fish, it's already rancid. It can create more inflammation in your body taking that kind of omega 3 supplementation. So I just wanted to do a side note of that so that you know. But a good quality omega 3 should be an omega 3 that doesn't give you any smelly fish. It should not make you burp. And it also should contain polyphenols as an antioxidant. A lot of omega 3 supplementations are simply not working. I do a lot of blood work. I have access to a database where we have done over 1.3 million blood tests today. And what it shows is that 16% of the US population are using omega 3s, but only 1% have good ratios and have enough of omega 3 index, which is crucial for our body to be able to feel any benefit. And the biggest reason for that is that the omega 3 supplementations is not working because they're adding the wrong antioxidant. So it's very important to measure and not guess. So that's what one of the slogans are: test it, don't guess it. But here he is struggling with a lot of pain, have been struggling for many, many years because he's your age. And suddenly he is not in need of his ibuprofen and painkillers, which I love that we're able to get him off that and that he can have a normal life. And it's very similar to my own health journey, and I've been sharing that in the first few episodes because I also struggled with a lot of chronic pain, especially for me, it was neck pain. It was also shoulders, but my neck pain was the most excruciating pain that I've ever suffered from. And it actually made my brain believe I was paralyzed because I was in so much pain in most of the positions I was in, except for when I was sitting completely straight. I could sit completely straight and then I could move my head. In any other position, I was in excruciating pain. And I also had very good effect by getting an omega balance. I was the typical person that was eating fish prior. I was eating omega 3 supplementations prior. Did not have any health benefits from them because I was still in pain. Suddenly, I just stopped guessing. I started to measure. It showed I had 9 times too much inflammation. I changed that. So I had only 2-to-1 ratio. And suddenly, my pain just disappeared. And I love, love, love helping other people that are in chronic pain. Pain is so hard to live with every day. I am not, I always told everyone, like, my body, I'm not able to deal with living with pain. I'm so fascinated with people that can look positive, stay positive, even if they're struggling with pain every day. I'm not one of those. I do not handle pain very well. Anyway, it's fascinating how many people you have already helped. And I know that the list is even longer. I just know that we have permission from those people to speak about their health journey, as they are also testimonials in your ebook. So if anyone out there is struggling with high blood pressure or might want to look into this because of pain, you go to Instagram or you go to Facebook, you find the high blood pressure guy, you ask him to send the ebook to you, and you guys can educate yourself because it's a very good ebook, very self-explanatory explanation. Yeah, I cannot pronunciate that word. I remind everyone that I'm from Sweden again. My English grammar will not be perfect. That's my disclaimer. um, Thank you so much, Bill, for sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. And if you could give a recommendation on one food, or actually two foods people should eat more of. I'm putting you on the spot right now. But what would that be from all your knowledge that you have gained? What should they eat more of?
I would say eat more avocados and use a lot of olive oil. And one more thing, you should eat grass-fed meat and grass-fed butter. So I gave you four.
Yes, that is lovely. Thank you so much, Bill, for coming on and sharing those testimonials. I hope it can inspire. And if this inspired you, I encourage you to share this episode with someone you know is struggling with high blood pressure or is struggling with maybe chronic pain from injuries from when they were young, playing softball or American football or whatever it might be. Let Bill inspire them to maybe take some actions and improve their lives. So thank you, Bill, for coming on.
Thank you, Michaela.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role in the Blue Zone community. And if you want to keep on building a better you, one essential building block at a time, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.